My name is Faith Rhyne, and I'm here at the Esalen Institute, just south of Big Sur, California. I've traveled from Asheville, North Carolina, to join with 35 other people, conscientious practitioners in various mental health fields and leaders in the psychiatric human rights movement. We've converged here on the coast of California to talk about alternative approaches and views to psychosis, and we've also considered other extreme states and really what that word psychosis really means. Here at Esalen, there's a long tradition of bringing these transformations of the human condition into different focus from the perspective that we're all growing, we're all changing, we're all unfolding, and that sometimes that can get very messy and confusing and frightening for people, but that ultimately, if supported and nurtured, that people come to amazing truths and realizations about themselves and about the world and the ways that they want to interact in it. We've recognized that with the medical model of psychiatry, the idea that human struggles and divergence from the imagined normal state of human function and operation, the biopsychiatric model tells us that these struggles are the result of a chemical imbalance or a brain disease. Something is wrong with the person. Alternative approaches, which really aren't very alternative. They're some of the oldest approaches around. These ideas have been around for centuries, that people go through growth and change, and that it's part of our human experience to face difficult things within ourselves, to reckon with difficult truths in the world, and to feel very deeply about them, and to really struggle to make sense of them. I personally think that that's where a lot of the art and the creation, all of some of the most important ideas that have shaped our human history have come out of these states of so-called madness or just deep, intense human struggle. I am a person who has experienced the so-called madness process very intensely. My personal term for it is reckoning, which is a term that I take to mean to navigate. You're going through something, you're finding direction, but you're also facing something that you can't not face. You have to reckon with it. And in my experience, that was things about how I felt about the world, that was things in my own history that just kind of kept coming up and kept coming up, and that I finally had to work through. It's like there's a children's story going on a bear hunt. You can't go over it, you can't go under it, you have to go through it, wherever that landscape may take you. And I think that within conscientious approaches, things like open dialogue and the humanistic tradition in psychology, Gestalt awareness, if space is provided for people to go through it, and if they're supported in going through it, without, the fear and the pathology that, oh, I have a terrible brain disease, it's going to be debilitating, my life is over, I have to take these drugs for the rest of my life. Then people do. They emerge from these processes in a very natural way, and often with a great deal of insight and wisdom that they needed to come into in their own way, in their own due time. Within the biomedical model of psychiatry, people aren't given that space. People that are experiencing struggle or have found themselves at a crossroads with consensus reality, the assumed status quo of the world, they are rampantly pathologized, they're isolated from their communities, their human relationships are distorted and severed. And really, the treatment that people within this process receive within the medical model is almost punishing. It's like you've broken script. You've strayed off the path. And so we're going to quiet you down, and we're going to dismiss any validity, any realness of what you may be going through. That, in my experience, that's a pretty serious human rights issue, to deny people the validity of their own experience and to not honor that it means something and that it's important. And so we're here. We're here at Esalen on the coast of California, in a beautiful place with this very rich tradition of looking at things differently, holding them in focus in a way that's more accommodating of just how just big and beautiful and complicated and storied the world and our human experience in it is. And that's a very, very wonderful place to be.